Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about chicks, brooder setups, cleaning out, and how you need to take care of your baby birds. Firstly, the most important part of having a brooder, of having chicks, is you need something to put them in. You need a brooder. So we have these galvanized tubs, two different sizes. We have this tall one, and then we have this more shallow one that's low to the ground. And so these work well. The shallow ones work well for chicks who are a bit smaller. These chickens have a tendency to fly out, and even the turkey pullets, they jump out of here as well. So we want to keep a fence over this probably at some point, but we haven't gotten a fence for it yet. So keeping fences over your brooders is a good way to keep them in. But when it comes to brooder boxes, it doesn't really matter what container you have, anything works. We use these galvanized tubs. I think you can get them at Tractor Supply. But you can also build your own out of some wood. I know we built a box one time, had holes drilled in it. It had a lid. We could remove it on and off depending upon the temperature. Since then, we've figured that these bins work really nice for cleaning out because you can just go and hose them out and they'll be fine. Whereas wood, it rots over time. And temperature-wise, it keeps a lot nicer in these containers because they're open, whereas the box before, the lid would have to shut. We'd open it on and off. It just wasn't the best temperature control. But now we have these, and these are really good. So this is what the brooder looks like. And now let me show you what you need when it comes to having chicks. So you're gonna need a form of heat. Now I do not recommend heat lamps, but this is an option of things that you can do. It's why I don't recommend heat lamps is because they're not safe. The problem with a lot of heat lamps is they can fall, break, and then catch things on fire. So if you are using a heat lamp, I recommend having one of these cages on it because it's just a lot safer of a way to have a heat lamp because we've had bulbs fall down and break. Nothing's got on fire, but this is just something that you really want to be careful of because it could kill your chicks, it could burn down your barn or your house depending upon where you're keeping your brooders, but keep that in mind if you are using a heat lamp. Make sure it's a safe form when you have these cages is best. So the thing I recommend most, safe-wise, is these heat plates, and there's a lot of poop on top because the chicks over here were climbing all over it, but these heat plates put off just enough heat. They have two modes, heater and brooder mode. So depending upon the size of the birds, you can keep this at a relative temperature. You can change the height using the legs, so you can have it up at the highest level or down to the lowest, depending upon the age of the birds and the type of birds that you're raising. So for chickens, highest level, they can crawl under it. But for quail, we might want that closer to the ground because they are so small. So this is just the Producer's Pride heat plate, and it works really well with us. You can set this up two ways. You can set it up and down or flat like this, but we figure it covers a lot more space whenever you have it flat to the ground like this. Something to keep in mind, chicks go through a lot of food and water, so you're going to be changing that daily. Keep that in mind. You want to make sure that your chicks have food and water. So as of right now, this little water down here is completely empty, and this is just from last night. We filled this up and cleaned it out. Same with the food. The chicks have it all over the ground, and there's a lot of wood chips in their feeder as well. You want to keep your areas clean as well. Now, chicks also poop a lot, especially if they're chubby little meat birds like this. They poop a lot. So keeping your space clean as well. These brooders are gonna need cleaned out here very soon. You can smell it. It's time. But you want to clean out the wood chips every day. Add more food if need be. Change their water. That way they have fresh water. And this is just something that you need to be monitoring daily, along with temperature and things like that. A big problem with a lot of chicks is the wood chips and poop in the water. Now, this still happens, the poop and wood chips, because it's not that high off the ground, but something that you want to do is set blocks underneath your water. So here we just have some, move your butt, buddy. So over here we have some blocks, and this just makes it easy for the water to set down on. These chicks don't scratch around too much, so the wood chips don't get in there very much. But having those blocks underneath it do help with having chips in your water and poop. And that's something you can also do with the feeders. We have a feeder with a wood block along the whole thing. So this is something that you can do as well. And when it comes to feeders and waters, what you should be buying, depending upon the amount of birds that I have in a brooder, this I would do for smaller birds. But this is a really decent size for this little brooder. And these feeders with the holes on top work really well compared to if this was just a trough completely open, because these birds would scratch all of it out, and then that would just be a waste of food. But as for these birds, because they're a bit bigger, having this large gallon water inside is just something that we have in here for the time being. But along with that, there is the feeder. You can see it's also on a block just to keep those wood chips out a little bit better. So what food should I be feeding my meat birds? Now, one time we made the mistake of giving chicks the wrong food, and that ended in those chicks dying because there's stuff in egg layer pellets and there are things in starter grower mix. Those two things are very different. There are things in the egg layer mix that your chicks do not need yet. So you want to get a starter grower mix for your birds. This is a simple, small meal full of protein, and it's just a really good variety of food. This is something, it's small enough that's going to digest in their crop, and it's got enough protein in it that this is going to help them grow. If you even have a sick bird, this is something you can feed them to gain that protein and get that build back on the bird if they're losing a lot of weight. Feed them the starter grower mix. It's just a simple way you can build up your birds again and get them to eat, because they love this stuff, and it is good for them. With that, starter grower mix for your chicks, egg layer pellets when they pass about 6 to 7 months. That's when birds are going to start laying. The best way I judge it is I start giving egg layer pellets when a bird lays. That's the best bet, because there's things in those egg layer pellets that will help your bird to lay those eggs. So keeping that all in mind, this is what you should feed your birds. So when you do have chicks, there are a few simple illnesses that can occur with your flock. So things you want to watch out for are splayed leg. That is not necessarily an illness, but it is something that chicks can get. What happens is when they're born, their legs just go out. Instead of them walking properly, they just go out. There are ways you can fix this, one of which being you can rubber band the legs and try to pull them together. I've never had a chick with splayed leg yet, but if that ever occurred, definitely look up how to deal with splayed leg, because it's simple to take care of, and you just want to watch out for it. Another thing is coccidiosis. That's more of the disease side of things. If your birds have blood in their poop, monitor it. It's not always coccidiosis. Sometimes chickens just do that. It's not good, but you can just monitor it. There are ways that you can take care of coccidiosis. Again, do your own research on that. But another one is pasty butt, and this is huge because people don't fully understand that sometimes, okay, you have to wipe a chick's butt. Chickens' butts, whenever they poop, they have a really soft poop. So what you want to do is you want to watch their butt. Okay, this is gross, but you got to watch their butt, because that wet poop will crust on there, and it'll keep them from being able to pass anything else, and that will kill your bird. So you want to monitor those. A good way to tell if your birds are in any pain, your chicks, or if they're in any distress at all, they will squawk really loudly. So I came into the barn today, and because I heard them squawking, and I saw that they were out of food and water. And that was them saying, hey, we need water, we're really thirsty. So now I'm going to give them some fresh water, but I figured I'd just toss that into this video as well, because this is something, when it comes to chicks, you need to watch out for. And if you guys are just starting out, this is like the how-to guide when it comes to raising any small bird. Yeah, let's clean out some feeders and waters. For some reason, I didn't get an outro clip for this video, so I'm filming one now. If you guys have any questions or things that you want to learn more about that I didn't touch on in this video, leave them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to get back to you guys and teach you more about things that you're more on topic with. And share this with somebody who may have just gotten chickens and they don't know what they're doing, or if you're more experienced and you just want to share this with just because. Do that too. Make sure to subscribe if you want to follow along on our journey. Like this video. I really appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this journey. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.